Hi, this is Timothy Schutte with Exit Realty Capital City and the Timothy Schutte Real Estate Team. Welcome back to my video blog. Everybody, or it seems like everybody in my side of the world in terms of real estate, has seen and heard about the NAR lawsuit and what does it mean and what is happening and what are the changes that are going to be happening. And one of the things that has been pretty interesting is I feel like it's going to be a very fluid transition for the first little bit because not everything's set in stone yet. And we went to a class last week and looked at what is the timelines, and the timelines have shifted a little bit because everything was originally saying probably end of July for some of the changes, and I'll get into those in a little bit. But based on the fact that it was a lawsuit, it goes into effect when the certain provisions were hit within the legal system, and it looks like August 17th is when a big change is going to happen, at least from the realtor side of it, which is our offers of compensation no longer can be advertised in the MLS or in any public website. So a few years ago, if you rewind, there was a lawsuit with the Department of Justice and NAR, and that said, hey, we need this to be transparent. We want it to be everywhere. So instead of just being on the MLS, it got put onto all the website portals like Zillow and Realtor.com and those things. Now we're having to pull all of those off. Okay, so what does that mean? So that's offers compensation is the buyer's broker commission in the way it's set up, where let's say you list a property for 6 or 7% and you offer half of that to the buyer's broker as compensation for the work and bringing the transaction to fruition. Now, moving forward, those have to be pulled out of there, okay? Now, that doesn't mean that offers of compensation aren't made. So as a listing agent, does that mean that you can go in and say, hey, we're not gonna offer the buyer's agent anything? Technically, that has always been the case. Now, there's pitfalls to that, and some of those are, does the buyer have the funds to pay their agent? Does it make it into more of a for sale by or unrepresented buyer transaction? Stuff like that. So there's different stresses that would come into play in that and add to negotiations. In addition to that, what that's going to do from a realtor standpoint is realtors are going to be communicating a lot more on what's the compensation being offered by the selling side. Some items would say, or some people would say that we're not going to see a terrible change, and some say you might. All of that's going to be fluid. I feel like for the next 6 months to a year until the market really kind of dictates where we're at. One of the things that's changed, and I think it's going to be one of the big changes, is buyer brokerage agreements have to be signed before we as realtors can show a property. So what does that mean? That means that if you call me up and say, hey, Tim, I want to look at this at 4 o'clock and it's 2 o'clock, I can't just go over there, open up the door and walk you through it. We have to sign a buyer agency form and have that conversation on what is our value, what is our worth. As a realtor that's been in it for quite a few years, that's been preached at us, talked to us, but it hasn't been, I would say, main practice. Most of the time we're signing that agency form before we submit the offer. Even though it's been encouraged and taught to do it earlier, the general public really hasn't wanted to be in that contract. Now, those contracts are going to be law, so we have to have those for anything we show, and that's going to be a big change going forward, I think, for many realtors. So as a consumer, if you call us, be prepared for that. Be prepared for, hey, we have to sign a form, we have to get under contract with our agent before we're able to show the property.